Let's go to Jess Smith, who's standing by in D.C. With the latest on trade. So, Jess, you were in the White House press briefing when administration officials really kind of walked us through exactly what we think we know about this Phase 1 deal. So what's the story there?
Well, Ambassador Robert Lighthizer met with a small group of reporters, and he told us that Phase 1 is done. He says it is written. It is 86 pages long, and now lawyers and translators are just going through it. Lighthizer expects a signing here in D.C. the first week of January, and then the deal will go into effect 30 days later. He says he does not expect President Trump to sign it. He says it will be on his level, so he and his Chinese counterpart will sign that deal. Now, the tariffs that were set to go into effect on December 15th are now canceled. Those are off the table. But the 15% tariffs that were on about $120 billion of Chinese goods, those are going to 7.5%. And then there are some tariffs that will remain in place. President Trump talked about those remaining tariffs at the White House earlier today.
The tariffs will largely remain at 25% on $250 billion, and we'll use them for future negotiations on the Phase 2 deal, because China would like to see the tariffs off, and we're okay with that, but they'll be used as a negotiating table for the Phase 2 deal, which they would like to start immediately, and that's okay with me. We were going to wait till after the election, but they'd like to start them sooner than that, and that's okay. So we'll start that negotiation soon.
Now, Lighthizer says he expects to start Phase 2 at an appropriate time. He would not give a specific timeline. He just said he wanted to see how Phase 1 goes, and then they'll get to Phase 2. He does not expect increased tariffs going forward unless there's a violation that works its way through the new enforcement mechanism that is in the deal. China also said this morning that it was going to see a rollback of U.S. tariffs in phases. Lighthizer said the U.S. has not agreed to that at that point. Great. But looking at some of the other elements in the deal, China has agreed to $200 billion in purchases. That's purchases in agriculture, manufacturing, energy, and services. China has agreed to buy $40 billion a year in ag products, but they'll try to reach $50 billion, the president's preferred number. And there are also IP protections. There are new force technology provisions in an agreement for both sides not to devalue their currency. Now, just a little bit of color from Ambassador Lighthizer. He said that this deal was not done until the last minute. He says negotiators were still talking this morning, and he said he got the go-ahead from President Trump around 10 o'clock this morning. Now, we do expect to have some sort of fact sheet or a little more information, some text from USTR at some point today, and then the final text of the deal should be released in the next couple weeks. Miles.
All right, Jessica Smith, live in D.C. with the latest on trade negotiations.
Hey investors, Zach Guzman here. Are you interested in learning more about the markets and getting the latest financial news? Well, then click right here to subscribe to our Yahoo Finance YouTube channel. Get the latest up-to-the-minute market analysis, big interviews in the world of finance, and information on how to manage your money every day wherever you are.